next day. It's about 6:30 in the morning. The only thing open is 7-Eleven. They don't start early here. Couldn't see anything to eat. Need to get some water. Did manage to get an instant coffee because the coffee machine in 7-Eleven wasn't working. And had a bit of a violent stomach incident in the night. Won't go into details. So not feeling 100%. Probably could do with some food. We'll get riding and then just see what we can find on the road. Temperature out about 23, 24 degrees, so it's okay. We got about 20 or 30k on the flat, so an hour or so, and then we start climbing. Once we get up to 600-700 meters higher, should be okay. On the way to Banaue. Riding out of suburban Solana. Got some water at least, and had a coffee. That's two main objectives ticked. Food is going to be a bit trickier. Today we have got only 70 something kilometers, not a huge amount. One big climb, but it's about 23 kilometer long climb, not super steep I don't think. Steep in places but nothing too crazy. Hopefully we can get something to eat before we get to that, because I fear I'm going to run out of energy fairly quickly. Just have to hope that something's open. Interesting driving conditions, surprisingly busy on this road, it's all going on. A bit tighter than I wanted. Loco! It's a very unusual Asian country, the Philippines. Anywhere else in Asia, certainly this time of the morning, on a fairly busy road like this, there'd be endless options to get breakfast, food, whatever. I saw one stall that I thought might be promising, but when I stopped it was just a woman butchering a pig's head. Maybe? Who knows? Oh, she's up. She actually had her indicator on, but I couldn't see it. She had a big cage in the way. Oh well. Scored some pasta. Is it the best pasta I've ever had? No. But is it some calories to get me up the mountain? Yeah, so I'll take that. Lone mosque. Amidst a sea of churches. It's going a bit slower. Okay, had my pasta. That was perhaps the worst, most hideous plate of spaghetti I've ever had. I literally had to force it down. Just had a really nasty sort of back taste, cooked in some sort of grease or lard. Anyway. Am I going on about food too much? I mean, I'm sure some of you are enjoying the fact that I'm not just dining on Asian delicacies for once. But yeah, when you're touring, food is, food, bed, water. These are the main things. Now we just got to hope it stays inside. Off that main road onto quieter country lanes now, for which I'm very grateful. Still pretty cool out, relatively 24, 25. I'm aware that if you're back in Northern Europe that may not sound cool, but I went out last night at about 8 p.m. It was still like 35. Absolutely sweltering. In the daytime it must be up to 40 something, so 25 does feel fresh. I'd say we've still got 20k to get to the climb, so we will no doubt get into the sweats but then we should get out of it fairly quickly. Certainly very pretty around here. Miller's Bake Shop, just passing through this little town. Still early, but a couple of donuts and a Coca-Cola. That's a couple hundred more calories. I would appreciate that. Into the sort of pre-mountain rolling hill stage, so a bit of a climb up. Very fast descent back there. Now flat for a bit, and then we get into the main climbs. First one, nearly 6k, and then at the top of that, we descend all the way back down 6k to where we started, and then go all the way back up another 18k right up into the mountains to this evening's destination, which I've learnt is pronounced, I think, Banaue. I was trying to confuse the triple vowel at the end yesterday because it's B-A-N-A-U-E, Banaue. And it's supposed to be very pretty up there. Rice terraces, big tourist destination for Filipinos. Don't expect to see many Westerners. Baguio apparently is the biggest tourist destination in the Philippines. Who would have thought that? I don't imagine many Westerners have even heard of it. Cyclists? Oh yes. Getting out into the nature now as we're climbing. Starting to get warmer though, even though we're ascending. It's a little bit like the frog in the boiling water analogy, if you know that one. So they say if you put a frog in boiling water, it'll just jump out. But if you put a frog in a pot of cold water and slowly heat it up, he'll stay there until he boils alive. Well, I'm that frog. If I'd had to just go out in that 40-degree heat yesterday, I would have jumped out of the water. But when you're slowly brought up to a gentle simmer, you just kind of put up with it. Appreciating the shade under these lovely trees. Haven't seen people on the roof of a jeepney before. 3 girls having the ride of their life. I once rode on the roof of a bus in India, and that was an experience. As we entered the Parvati Valley, which is stunningly beautiful in the Himalayas, so I don't regret it, but definitely had its moments. We're on the main climb, although heading through the town of Banaue right at the beginning of the climb. So we got another 17 kilometers, about 1,050 meters to climb. hour and a half maybe. We'll be out of the heat in 30 minutes, in theory, and should be arriving just in time for lunch. Hurrah! About halfway up, still 550 meters to climb, nearly 1,000 meters up, definitely cooling down. That said, I am soaked, I swear. Time for a snack, bottle of Gatorade, bottle of water, and 5 mini packets of peanuts. We're getting 2.8 to go to the top, about 12 to go to the end of the ride, but the last bit's downhill. I'm beginning to feel quite depleted, not in good shape at all, which I thought would happen. Hour and a half climbing in the heat. Whew, he's on a chain. Upset stomach, very little calorific intake. It's the perfect storm. That said, a bit of a headache coming on. That said, I think I'll make it, no problem. It's just going to be a little bit of a grind, and then hopefully I can find a place, check in, get some food and just chill, and then see how we are tomorrow. No hurry. And that is the top. We made it. That's our reward. Much clearer out today in the hills. You can see quite a distance. And now I think just 7k downhill, and then we're there. If you're going to get a bit sick, do it on an easy day. Into Banaue. I've been told a couple of cheaper hotels, so I'll check them out. Including that one. That's going to be tricky with the bike. Might pass on that one. Busy little town. Motorbikes everywhere. That wasn't quite what I expected, I have to say. Okay. Stairway, lodge and restaurant. Perfect. Bicycle's sitting in there in the dark. And we've got a little room up here. This is a much more basic, simple place than last night. I have to say it's more my kind of cup of tea. I don't really like fancy places. And it's got a balcony and air. Got my little room in here. Got a little bathroom. Little seating area. 500 pesos. 500 pesos is £7, £8. So a lot cheaper than last night. And there's the view out the window. Got showered, cleaned my clothes, got them out to dry, all the essential stuff, and got some food from the restaurant. Veg curry and rice. Looks simple. She says it's not spicy. I don't think I can deal with spicy right now. Maybe I will live to regret ordering that. And then we're just going to enjoy chilling here for the rest of the day. Maybe go and see some rice terraces. Maybe not.